Hi and welcome. Thanks for joining us as we take this opportunity to take a look at everything Google Suite on your iPad. So let's get started with today's lesson. Okay, so let's take a look at how we would use the assignment process on Classroom and how it looks on the student screen as well. So the screen on the left here, I've got the student view, and the screen on the right here is the teacher view. So I'm going to go into Safari on the teacher device at the moment. You'll see that I've got my class here set up. This is the one that we've been using for the other demos. And as the student, I have already joined that class. So I'm on here as the student in this class at the moment. So let's go through the process, setting up an assignment, seeing what that does for the student view, how the student can then share their work, and how that to and fro kind of works. So I'm going to go into the training class that we set up before, go to the classwork, and I'm going to create a new assignment here. So go to assignment, I'm going to add in the topic. So there we go, just a nice simple one. The instructions, create. Something nice and simple for the students to be able to do. I could obviously, like we've seen before, add in some additional things. There might be a YouTube video that I wanted to add in, or some links to some examples that I want students to have a look at, or I could create something straight away myself. So again, the power of doing this on the web as opposed to doing this through the app, nice simple access to all of those things that I want the students to have access to. I want this to be in my training class, but I could also add this to other classes. So if this was a back to school thing and you knew you're teaching multiple classes and you just wanted to do like an introduction to the start of the year, a generic kind of, how are you activity, you could do that there. And you can also specify which students you want to add it to. But at the moment, I've only got one student in this class as it's for demo. Choose what points I want this out of. Do I want it out to 100, or do I want this actually to be ungraded? I'm going to leave it graded at the moment so we can go through those processes. I'm not going to put a due date in, but again, simply just add in that due date that you want to add in. I'll just keep it blank for now. And then we talked about this before in terms of topics. What do I want this to be? Because I created a Google Classroom as a topic before, I can add that again. And as you build things up over time, obviously your topic list will grow and you can kind of categorize them a lot easier. I'll just put it under Google Classroom as the topic. Now this next thing, really useful, just to speed up that assessment in the classroom. You can add in rubrics to this, which is a really useful tool. Now you can create new rubrics, reuse old ones, or import them if you created these within Sheets, which is a nice touch as well, because lots of schools might have these rubrics already set up. I know that for me in university, we already had rubrics set up, so it would just be a simple case of just importing those. If I go to create a rubric, just goes through the process here. So what is the criteria that I want? What is it that I'm actually looking for? How many points would I award for that? And so on and so forth. What's the description of all of these things? So you just go through this whole kind of process and then add that as your rubric. I'm just going to discard that for the purposes of now. And this last button box here, this is your Originality Report. Okay, so when students upload something in text format, it's going to do a check for plagiarism. A useful tool to have if you want that to be in there. Just really useful for you to just have that oversight on plagiarism. I would always urge teachers to think about the assignments they're setting that avoid the opportunity for plagiarism. If it's a question that's been asked before, chances are you're kind of asking students to do the research, they're going to find those answers in those ways. But that's a whole other conversation. So turn on that check for plagiarism, and there you go. So the next thing I'm going to do is just tap on assign, and that's going to send that assignment out to my students. So if I now jump onto the students view in the students class, you'll see that it's now got this new assignment, how are you today? And if I tap on classwork, I can see that next assignment is in there. So how are you today? And if I go ahead and tap in that, I can see that it's been assigned to me, and I can see that it's asking me to do some work. So I can tap on view assignment. I can see that it's got that Originality Report in there. I can see the task that's been set, and I can add or create my own work. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on add or create. And at this point, you'll see that I have instant access to all of my Google Suite applications. So however I might want to create that task for my teacher, be it through docs or slides or sheets or drawings, but also I can attach other things that might be in my Google Drive that I've stored from Keynote. So, and again, we'll have a look at that in a second, how that might work if you're working within the app setup. So I'm just going to actually start a new document just for the purposes of just showing you the process. So it's just going to create that document for me on my device. Opens up in Google Drive because I've got Google Drive and Google Docs open. We'll talk about Google Docs and the web view and the Safari view a little bit later, but I'm just going to go straight ahead and start to actually add something in here. So I had a great day. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to speed up this process because I'm on my iPad, and rather than type it because my spelling might not be great, I'm actually going to use the Dictation Tool, which works perfectly well within the applications. Today we went on a lovely walk in the woods, and found a lovely place to have a picnic, full stop. The picnic contained some ham and cheese sandwiches as well as a nice drink of cold squash. Full stop. New line. So there we go. So nice simple way to add in your information and how to use the iPad and the dictation functions within that. So I tap on tick when I'm done, happy with that, and I can go back. That's all been completed on my device. So if I jump back into Safari now, where I was doing the work, here's that document already in there. It's already been connected, and I can just simply tap on hand in. Oops, there we go. So this is just telling me that it's going to check for my originality. Am I happy with that? It's quite nice as a warning to the students. You'd assume at this point, if they feel that they've done anything that they might not have or shouldn't have done, that they might not turn it in. But it's good to have that option there. So I'm going to turn it in anyway, and then obviously now we can jump back to the teacher view and see that that piece of work has been handed in. So if I jump back to the teacher view on my other device and tap, you can see here one has been turned in. I can go to view assignment. I can see that student has handed it in. I can see their work. It's going to open up on my device. And again, now I've just opened it in Safari, so I can see that in what it looks like in Safari. It gives me the option to open it in Docs, so I don't want to. And I can look at this work, and this is great from the teacher point of view because I kind of have all of my marking options in one place here. So I can see the work that they've done. I can grade the work, so I'm going to be nice and say it's 100 out of 100. I can leave private comments. I can also comment directly on the work here. So, I might highlight a piece of work here and go to comment, and I might say where were the woods, etc., and then leave a comment there on the student's work. So it's all really, really simple in terms of that marking, just very much similar to how you would do this on other platforms as well. And then I can just simply return that back to the student. And then on the student device, we can see that if I just refresh that page, the student then finds out that their work has been marked and they get their grade. And then obviously they have that opportunity to resubmit if they need to. If I go into the work itself, we'll be able to see that those teacher comments have been left on my work. So if I tap on the comments, I can see that those comments are left on there. So that's how it works, from teacher setting the assignment to students being able to access the assignment in their work. So let's take a very quick look at some of the other options then in terms of what you can set for the students. Let's go back to our classwork section and let's add in a new quiz for this one. So quiz assignment, really, really easy, goes into Google Forms. Again, allows me to create that Google form, gives me the options. Again, I can have this marked if I want to have it marked. It's already created that kind of overview of a blank quiz. All I need to do is go through one at a time. And again, we'll have a look at making forms a little bit later, but the process is really, really simple and keeps it all contained nicely within Google Classroom for me. I can just simply ask a question. Many times in sessions, you just want to have that quick feedback from your students. And again, we talked about this in other sessions about having the chat feature open on videos, having your students be able to answer, not anonymously, but without having to put their hand up in the class and share their thoughts to everybody. Again, a really, really nice touch to have your students interact with you. And we could just post material, if it's just some information that I want, and also reuse post, because that really does save you time. If you are creating assignments under a sort of general format approach, you can use that format and then adapt it to the assignment that you need for your students. So there we go. There's Google Classroom from a teacher view and a student view, how they work interchangeably. The very last thing to show you is if I get Google Classroom downloaded onto the student iPad, there is another way that you can upload work to your teachers as well. So we looked at how we could, create the work directly within Google Classroom, but maybe you're not actually using Google Classroom to create your work. Maybe you're not using Google Suite at all. You might have done a piece of work within Keynote, for instance. So let's just imagine that this is the work that we've done. What have I learned today? What we can then do from this point is if I tap on the ellipsis at the top, so I can go in and I can share that then to Classroom. If I tap on Classroom, it's going to take me through and upload that to the class. Now I've only just downloaded it, so I'm not logged into it. So it's going to take a few steps, but I can just add that class into Classroom and then upload my work. So I go into Classroom, I need to find my training class. I'm going to attach it to the assignment. And you'll see this is a really, really useful way to do this within your class. Oh, I've already submitted it for the other one. So you get the process. Okay, so now I can just hand in that work directly from Keynote, directly into Classroom on my device. So again, using the iPad, using the share features, really, really simple way to upload that. And just to double check that we can actually see that, if I go to the How to Use Classroom, we should see that work is in there. So let's tap on that. We can see that we've got an assignment, and here we go. We've got some work that's been handed in by the teacher, by the student, and there is that My Work Keynote added in as part of the assignment. So there we go, Classroom on the iPad, teacher view and student view.